Have you ever heard a man fight with thunder in his fists and poetry on his tongue? He was not born in a palace, nor raised with a silver spoon, but the world would one day call him a king. Before he became a champion, he was a boy with a stolen bicycle and a burning need to be seen, heard, and felt. This is not just the story of a boxer. It's the rise of a revolutionary soul named Muhammad Ali. Born on January 17, 1942, in Louisville, Kentucky, Cassius Marcellus Clay Jr. entered a world divided by race, yet destined to be conquered by his voice and fists. His father, Cassius Marcellus Clay Sr., a billboard painter, and his mother, Odessa Grady Clay, a domestic worker, lived in the segregated South, where black children learned early that silence was survival. But young Cassius wasn't silent. He was loud, curious, fast-talking, and always dreaming of greatness. He had one younger brother, Rudolph "Rudy" Clay, who would later change his name to Rahman Ali and also pursue boxing. At age 12, his life changed when his red Schwinn bicycle was stolen. In anger, he reported it to a nearby officer who also happened to be a boxing coach. Cassius declared, "I'm gonna whoop whoever took it." The officer laughed, then replied, "You better learn to fight first." And so, in the basement of a local gym, a skinny boy with a fiery tongue began to dance with destiny. He trained with passion, discipline, and flair. His fists were quick, but his confidence was quicker. Even as a teenager, he told reporters boldly, "I knew I was the greatest even before I knew I was." In school, he wasn't the best student, but his presence was magnetic. In the ring, he became unstoppable. By 1954, Cassius Clay fought, and won, his first amateur bout. That same year, he won the Golden Gloves tournament for novices. The boy who once chased down a bike thief was now chasing immortality. By the mid-1950s, Cassius Clay had become a local legend in Louisville. Every punch he threw was backed by unshakable belief. By 1959, he'd won 100 out of 108 amateur bouts and was preparing for the global stage, the 1960 Rome Olympics. At just 18, he boarded his first flight, terrified of planes, wearing a parachute the whole way. But in the ring, there was no fear. In Rome, he dazzled crowds with his footwork and speed, winning all 4 bouts with ease. He defeated Poland's Zbigniew Pietrzakowski in the final to win the light heavyweight gold medal. A champion was born, not just of fists, but of confidence. He returned home a hero. But even gold couldn't shield him from the sting of segregation. Legend says, after being refused service at a whites-only diner, he threw his Olympic medal into the Ohio River. Whether fact or myth, the moment symbolized his awakening. He turned professional, dazzling promoters with not only his talent but his mouth. He rhymed, he mocked, he declared, "I am the greatest. I said that even before I knew I was." But behind the bravado was strategy. Ali understood that boxing was as much showmanship as sport. Crowds came to see him win, or lose. He didn't care which. He was getting attention. Still known as Cassius Clay, the young fighter was now on a mission not just to win fights, but to conquer the world. Fresh off his Olympic victory, Cassius Clay turned professional. In 1960, he debuted against Tony Hunsaker, winning by unanimous decision. He began stacking victories with blinding speed, poetic trash talk, and unmatched charisma. He wasn't just boxing, he was performing. Critics dismissed him. They said his hands were too low, his chin too high, his mouth too loud. But he silenced each one, fight after fight. His record climbed, 19 wins, 15 knockouts. He called himself the Louisville Lip, predicting rounds, taunting opponents. But Clay wasn't all talk. In 1963, he faced heavyweight contender Henry Cooper in London. Cooper knocked him down in round 4, but Clay returned in the 5th with a fury that ended the fight. The world took notice. His style was poetry in motion. He declared, "Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee." His hands can't hit what his eyes can't see. It wasn't just a quote, it was truth. As the victories grew, so did the spotlight. And as that spotlight intensified, Cassius Clay began exploring something deeper: faith, identity, and legacy. The world saw a boxer. He saw something greater forming in the ring and beyond. February 25, 1964. The world tuned in to see Cassius Clay challenge the ferocious Sonny Liston, a man feared even by champions. Clay, just 22, danced, dodged, and dazzled. In a stunning upset, he made Liston quit after 6 rounds. The world was stunned. Clay roared. "I shook up the world." The next day, the headlines exploded again, but not for boxing. Cassius Clay announced his conversion to Islam and his new name, Muhammad Ali, given by Elijah Muhammad of the Nation of Islam. Ali said, "Cassius Clay was my slave name. I didn't choose it, and I don't want it." This bold transformation rocked America. Some refused to call him Ali. Others called him a traitor. But he didn't flinch. In 1965, Ali gave Liston a rematch. Just 90 seconds in, he landed the phantom punch. Liston dropped. Ali stood over him, shouting, "Get up and fight, sucker." The photograph became iconic: Ali, fists clenched, standing in history. But this was no longer just about titles. Ali was now fighting 2 battles, one in the ring, and one against a society afraid of a black man unafraid to speak. And both wars were just beginning. By 1966, Muhammad Ali had conquered the boxing world, undefeated, unshaken, unstoppable. But then came a different kind of war: Vietnam. When Ali was drafted, he shocked the world by refusing. "I ain't got no quarrel with them Viet Cong. No Viet Cong ever called me NR." The backlash was brutal. Stripped of his heavyweight title. Banned from boxing. Facing 5 years in prison. He was called a coward, a traitor, un-American. But Ali stood firm, even as he lost everything. He said, "Why should they ask me to put on a uniform and go 10,000 miles from home to drop bombs? While so-called Negro people in Louisville are treated like dogs." At just 25, Ali was banned from the very thing that made him a legend: the ring. For 3.5 years, he could not box, as he battled in courts, in protests, and in hearts. But what the world saw was a man willing to give up his crown for his conscience. He wasn't just fighting opponents anymore. He was fighting a nation's soul. In 1970, after nearly 4 years in exile, Muhammad Ali was finally allowed to fight again. But the world had changed, and so had he. He wasn't as fast. He wasn't as sharp. But his voice? Louder than ever. He returned to the ring with fire, defeating Jerry Quarry, then Oscar Bonavena. But all eyes were on one name: Joe Frazier. The fight of the century was set: Ali vs. Frazier, 1971. 2 undefeated giants. Ali lost. For the first time, the man who called himself the greatest was humbled in front of millions. But he didn't quit. He kept training, kept speaking, kept fighting. In 1974, after years of setbacks, Ali earned a shot at the new heavyweight champion, George Foreman. It was time for the rumble in the jungle. He told the world, "I've done something new for this fight. I done wrestled with an alligator. I'm so mean I make medicine sick." Ali was back, older, slower, but smarter. And this time, he had a plan. October 30th, 1974, Kinshasa, Zaire. The world watched as Muhammad Ali faced George Foreman, a younger, stronger, undefeated knockout machine. Most thought Ali wouldn't survive 2 rounds. But Ali didn't just fight. He strategized. He leaned on the ropes. Took punches. Whispered insults. "Is that all you got, George?" He called it the rope-a-dope, and by the 8th round, Foreman was exhausted. Ali struck. A right hook. A left. Another. Foreman fell. Ali was champion again. The crowd roared. Ali Bomayi. Ali, kill him. It wasn't just a win. It was resurrection. Ali had defied the odds, the critics, the government, and time. He stood in the ring, arms raised, and shouted, "I am the greatest of all time." He had reclaimed the throne, not just for himself, but for every man who had ever been told he couldn't. October 1, 1975, Manila, Philippines. Ali vs. Frazier 3. The rubber match. The end of a brutal trilogy. The world called it the Thrilla in Manila. Ali called it the closest thing to dying. It was war. Fought under brutal heat. For 14 rounds, both men battered each other. Ali's punches were lightning. Frazier's were thunder. But both refused to fall. By the 15th, Joe Frazier's trainer stopped the fight. Ali collapsed, not in celebration, but from exhaustion. He later said, "He's the greatest fighter I've ever fought." And yet, Ali stood victorious. Their rivalry was forged in pain but ended in respect. Ali had proven more than skill, he had proven heart. He once told reporters after that fight, "Only last night I discovered how close death is. I'm just glad I won." The 1970s faded, and so did Muhammad Ali's invincibility. In 1978, he lost to Leon Spinks, a 7-fight rookie. But like a phoenix, Ali reclaimed his title in a rematch, becoming the first man to win the heavyweight championship 3 times. But time was winning. In 1980, he faced Larry Holmes, his former sparring partner. The result was painful. Ali couldn't keep up. The ring had become a mirror, showing age, slowness, and danger. Doctors grew concerned. And in 1981, after one final loss to Trevor Berbick, Ali retired. This time, for good. But an invisible opponent had stepped in. Parkinson's disease, diagnosed in 1984, but its signs appeared even earlier. Ali's speech slowed. His hands, once symbols of speed, began to tremble. And yet, he smiled. He once said, "I don't fear Parkinson's. I want to show the world it doesn't have to be the end." The fighter never truly left the ring, he just changed his opponent. Muhammad Ali had hung up his gloves, but he was not done fighting. Now, his mission was peace, dignity, and justice. He traveled the world, from war zones to hunger-stricken regions, offering hope, not punches. In 1990, during the Gulf War, Ali traveled to Iraq to negotiate the release of 15 American hostages. Despite trembling hands and slurred speech, his courage roared louder than ever. The world embraced him anew. In 1996, Ali lit the Olympic flame in Atlanta, hands shaking, eyes blazing. Millions cried. He said, "My only fault is that I don't realize how great I really am." But the world did. And in him, they saw something greater than a boxer, they saw a symbol. From Nelson Mandela to the Dalai Lama, world leaders embraced him. Ali had traded titles for truth, and the world listened. The body that once danced now trembled. Parkinson's disease, diagnosed in 1984, was gaining ground. But Ali never retreated. He used his struggle as a platform, raising awareness, funding research, and giving strength to others. The Muhammad Ali Parkinson Center, opened in 1997, became a beacon for hope. Still, his spirit soared. He said, "Service to others is the rent you pay for your room here on earth." In 2005, President George W. Bush awarded him the Presidential Medal of Freedom, the nation's highest civilian honor. Ali smiled. Slow, steady, radiant. His fight had transcended sport. He was no longer just a champion, he was humanity's fighter. Behind the roar of the crowds and the thunder of his punches, Muhammad Ali carried a heart that longed for connection. He married 4 times. His first wife, Sunji Roy, was a glamorous model and singer, but their union ended in less than 2 years, torn by disagreements over faith and tradition. In 1967, he married Belinda Boyd, who later became Khalila Ali after converting to Islam. She gave him 4 children, including his eldest daughter, Maryam, and later, the fierce and iconic Layla Ali, who followed in his footsteps into the boxing ring. Ali's third wife, Veronica Portia, was a beauty queen he met during his comeback years. She bore him 2 daughters, including Hannah and Layla. In his later years, Ali found enduring love with Lonnie Williams, a childhood friend who became his 4th and final wife. Lonnie stayed by his side through his battle with Parkinson's, managing his affairs, shielding his legacy, and loving him till the end. In total, Muhammad Ali had 9 children, each one a chapter of his soul, scattered across a life lived in the ring and on the road. The world saw the champion. His family knew the man. His voice had quieted, but his message thundered. Ali became a living monument, visited by presidents, loved by people of all faiths and colors. He stood for peace, for justice, for every soul fighting an unseen battle. In 2009, he attended Barack Obama's inauguration, a black president, a dream fulfilled. But time was closing in. On June 3, 2016, Muhammad Ali passed away at 74. The world wept, yet celebrated. As he once said, "Don't count the days, make the days count." And count, they did. The legend lives on. He was more than a boxer. He was thunder in motion, poetry in defiance, and faith wrapped in fire. Muhammad Ali fought not just for titles, but for dignity, for justice, and for the soul of a generation. He gave the world his fists, his voice, and his heart. From Louisville to the world stage, from gold medals to Parkinson's battles, Ali stood tall. And though his body slowed, his legacy only grew stronger. He didn't just shake the world. He changed it. Forever.
Hey, thanks for watching this amazing story and welcome to Video Biographer, where every life has a story and every story deserves to be told. If you believe that every person has a journey worth knowing, hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell, so you never miss a life story that could inspire or inform you. Ready to explore more? Choose one of the videos on your screen and discover a life that you should know about. This is Video Biographer, where stories live and life speak. See you in my next video. If there's a life story you'd like me to cover, drop your suggestion in the comments. Until then, stay blessed and take care.